Hello, good morning. So yeah, it is a beautiful rainy day in Vietnam. Mosquitoes all on me. And yeah, we just had some pho. We're gonna cut through the little jungle here. This is the little playground in front of my apartment. So yeah, these are what my apartments. These are what a pretty decent apartments kind of look like here in Lao Cai, for anybody wondering from the outside. So you'll have a gated security guard, except for he just sits there. He just waves at you. He lets it, I mean, I don't really think they enforce anything. I could come in here with a tank and probably just wave me through. But yeah, here, let me get into the little basketball court. So these are a lot of teachers like to live in this area, and this whole place goes for a long time. This whole little like apartment housing, they have like little like storefronts and places like that all around, but little playground. Look at this rainy weather. Getting rained on and I love it. So yeah, these are what the apartments. So generally you'll have 4 floors. There'll be a washer, 2 washer machines at the top. Lobby, people will park their motorcycles. Over here are actual houses though. So you have houses mixed with people that will buy the whole building and just rent it out. So somebody will, versus somebody who will just buy the entire building and yeah, they'll own it. They'll have like a 3-4 story house pretty much, a bunch of rooms, or they'll separate it, maybe just do half or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways. If you're a foreigner, you cannot buy land in Vietnam. You can only rent or lease pretty much. So if you wanted to be like an investor per se. Now this is not my field. I don't know much about this. Just somebody very special to me happens to be Vietnamese, so she teaches me everything I need to know about it. So I kind of have like an insider that gives me some of a inside perspective, which is very stupid mosquitoes. A inside perspective, which is really cool to have, And so if you wanted to come out here and buy a house, say that I'm getting out of here, please. Just so you know. Early in the morning, first thing in the morning, and right at nighttime are when mosquitoes are the worst in Vietnam. And if it's raining, even you're screwed even more. So yeah, I'm getting chewed up by mosquitoes. So give me a second. So yeah, if you wanna come out here, say you fall in love. I must look retarded. Sorry, I must look stupid. I don't like saying that word. People used to call me that all the time. Make fun of me when I was a kid, so I apologize. I don't like to say that word at all. I must look silly is what I'm trying to say. If you want to come out here and buy a house and retire, you can't really do it in Vietnam, but you could like buy land for a certain amount of time, I believe. And yeah, I actually wouldn't mind doing that someday up in Sapa. I actually have some ideas, but I can't say it on YouTube because I don't want nobody stealing my plans, my grand plans for what I have for the future. Sapa, let me tell you something magical about Sapa. Sapa is a very ethnic heavy place. I mean, it is culturally, and it's all about the ethnic tribes, the Hmong, the Dao, Red Dao, like you have all these different tribes out there. And they want to preserve so much of their tradition, their culture. It's kind of like the old quarter in Hanoi. You don't want these Western influence coming. You don't want it turning into another, Ho Chi Minh City. Another, no offense, no disrespect to the people who love it. But, pollution, a bunch of, loud, annoying Westerners. And just, I can't stand foreigners, Westerners. Like, now that, I'm like one of like, maybe like 2 in this whole city at some points. Sometimes there'll be more. But like, whenever I see a tourist, they're just loud, they're inconsiderate, but yeah, it just makes me cringe. It makes me look bad. It's like, get the hell out of it. You're not in America right now. You know, you're not in, you know, wherever, Europe. You know, come out here with a little respect. But anyways, off my pedestal. If you fall in love, want to get established out here, you would rent. So that's kind of what I want to do in Sapa maybe one day. I have some ideas flowing. Of course, this is like long-term, big picture. You know, if I decided to spend my life in Vietnam kind of thing, or at least be like, you know, based out of Vietnam. I definitely do my traveling, but yeah. And also I would build, not, Vietnamese housing is concrete. As you see, the majority of it is this concrete layout. Just concrete with metal rebar. They pour concrete. I've seen them build so many different buildings. Hardwood floors, glass windows. It's just kind of like where in America, we use the wooden frame. I used to do framing for my uncle for a little bit, and I learned how to, and that's the majority of like how American houses would go. All right, mosquitoes, go away. But yeah, I want to build an American style with the wooden foundation house. That way it gives you insulation. Somewhere up in Sapa. And I have ideas for the different kind of businesses and ways that you could support yourself in Sapa. And there's people who do it digitally, but I have ideas about how you could do it in person. But I will never say, because one of you all would steal my idea. But it helps. It helps when you have somebody close to your heart who's Vietnamese. She teaches you. I've learned a lot. You know, I've learned a lot. Be it friends, be it co-workers, you know, be it whoever, you know. It definitely inspired me for some ideas. But anyways, yeah, this is kind of what you'll get if you come out to Lao Cai. Say you're a brand new teacher. I'd recommend a place like this, okay? And it's gonna have Wi-Fi. You've seen my apartment a million times. It's there's a little breakfast place. There's stores all across here, and it's maybe 5 minutes on the motorcycle to the actual like into Lao Cai. So it's kind of like on the outskirts of the. We don't have a downtown per se. It's it's rural, but I mean it is a little. I mean don't get me wrong. We're not living in it's not a third world. I mean there's all kinds of cool stuff there. There is businesses and all that. But it's nothing like and it's not like Chicago or anything like that. But you're gonna pay probably about 6 million, 5 million, 5 million, 6 million, and that'll come with all together with your electricity, your water, your Wi-Fi comes included, and your apartment. If you want something like what I have. Pretty decent. It's really good. It's less than $300 a month or something around that for everything combined. So yeah, so $300 and you have yourself a luxury. I have a high ceiling, and I actually pay it for a little bit extra just because I like to have my windows that face the mountains, and I have floor to ceiling windows. I could look at the jungle, look at the mountains, but I mean you could get a view right here that looks at this playground right here. Probably paid maybe $4 something. Yeah, the prices are just. I mean, it really is. Like comparatively, they always say that you live like a rock star in Vietnam. That is true if you're willing to go away from tourist spots and big cities. If you're willing to go to the places that, like right now, I challenge you: go to a map on Vietnam and just close your eyes. And pick a spot, boom, anywhere, right? But make sure it's north. Make sure it's north of Hanoi. Trust me. If this is my whole channel, if this is one thing you've learned about me and my channel, right? If there's one thing that you trust me on, it's that the north is where it's at. There is no love given to the north of Vietnam, and I'm talking like I'm on the China border. I can see China if I drive 5 minutes, to the Red River over there. I've made videos on that. There is so much untapped beauty, adventure, money to be made if you're one of those people who are all about money. Culture, if you want people who actually enjoy the culture, the original food, the traditions of the North Vietnamese. the architecture, like no Western influence, and that is a beautiful thing. I flew all the way across the world to get away from all the Western, all you Westerners, you know, all you Americans. I love you, but I don't want to live with you people no more. I don't want to live with my own country no more because I can't stand you. You're all too busy fighting each other over politics. Stupid mosquito. It's too busy fighting each other over politics and you know, and jabbing yourselves with all this and being stupid about that. Like, no. I wanted to be around some people who actually love their country, people who there was no fighting, where I could just listen. Do you hear horns honking? Did you see me having to wear a mask because the pollution ratings are so freaking bad? Do you see me having to check an app to see if I could breathe the air? No. Because I'm in the mountains. Because I'm living healthy. Because this is healthy. And it's not just healthy for your body, it's healthy for your spirit and your heart. So, I'm telling you, there's going to be a million channels telling you, hey, yo, Hanoi this, Saigon this, Da Nang this, Halong Bay this. You know, I always name the same few because that's where all the expats want to go. Expat community this. Like, yeah. I mean, that is one of the reasons my channel kind of morphed into what it was, because I saw what this was. And I was like, why is there no other channels doing what I'm doing? Why is there nobody that's showing this? Like, this is like, it's like you find like a little hidden paradise, right? Like I found like the Atlantis, and yet everybody's obsessed with freaking these filthy, dirty, polluted cities that represent nothing about Vietnamese culture, and they come here all just wanting to make money. You know, anybody can make money. You could have made money in America. Why do you come all the way out here if money's all you care about? You know, screw money. You know, I've had money. I've been poor. I've been wealthy. I've been living in my car. I got a CBR 600 RR that will smoke anybody sitting in America, and a Mustang that's modified that will smoke any of y'all just sitting there. I got a bunch of guns just sitting home in America, right? I got all the toys. I got graphic novels and books to stack up all this, right? I got every material thing that I want. I've traveled to every state inside of America, lived in pretty much several of them. Money ain't nothing. That's not why you should be doing this. You don't move to Vietnam for money. You shouldn't. I mean, granted, yes, it's good to have money. You need money. But I see some channels that it's all about, you know, come out here and, you know, I see people for the wrong reasons. And now, granted, this is my opinion. And my opinion is meant from a place of like, hey, look, you do you, I'll do me. I mean, no disrespect to people who come out here and want to make businesses but like, if you're willing to travel to the other side of the world as an American, especially, then you better be willing to do it for more than just, oh, you know, I can make a little extra money, or I can afford to, you know, throw $100 bills or $500,000 dong, you know, at the club. Like, there ain't no clubs here, or at least not here. There ain't, but there ain't no, you know, flexing. Is that what you young kids call it? This is history. Go away, mosquitoes. This is history, and there's not going to be much of this one day. Like, think about it. Vietnam is becoming very modern. It's you know, I look at South Vietnam as, no offense, but it's like spreading. You know, it's going farther north. The more industrialized it gets, the more Western influence it gets, the more the young generations are, told what to think by TikToks and Facebooks, and the more social engineering that goes on. And don't get me started on all that. Like, there's gonna be a day when real Vietnam, and people, you know, I've been hearing some people say real Vietnam. Like, no, you're not in real Vietnam. You know, like, real Vietnam would be a metric of how Vietnam has been its longest. Not, you know, how the majority of people live, but what is, like, I'm getting rained on. What is the history of Vietnam? What forged it? What is its culture, its traditions, its heritage, its holidays? How did people live for the majority of this country's history? How have people lived? To me, that is what real Vietnam is. Now you could argue Hanoi's real Vietnam because it's, you know, the future of Vietnam. It's modernized. It's, you know, it's, you could live there like you're living in New York or something. But no, from the South, and all that stuff is spreading, and one day you're not gonna have this, and all the things that I show you on my channel, you're not gonna have. Get it? Come and experience this now. Come up here and teach, and a lot of things too. You know, talk about the teaching aspect of it. You know, there's, you know, some people come out here and think that they don't have any influence on their teaching. That, you know, you have 45 kids in a classroom, and I get that. I've experienced that, and I understand. But it doesn't have to be like that. That you come out here and you have no influence on teaching. That you don't have any impact on these kids' lives. That is not true. And trust me, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I've done the whole classrooms with like 40 kids. You know, maybe not in Hanoi, maybe not in, you know, the big city, but, you know, we do have public schools up here too. I've experienced it, and you can make a difference. You can control a classroom, and that's why, you know, having, you know, that's why that TEFL is important to a certain extent. That's why your degree is important, because a degree is not about what you learn. It's about learning how to learn. It's about learning discipline, for one. It's about teaching you, you know, it's like the same idea of like the military. You know, it makes you strong. It shows you that you're able to commit to something, that you're going to be able to endure something, you know, push yourself. And in that classroom, you're going to have to do the same. So there's a lot of reasons that I tell you to come out to Vietnam now, to North Vietnam, teach in places like Lao Cai, Sapa, Baco, just some tier 4, even go tier 4. Like, you will make a difference. But even if you do go to the South, even if that is your thing, and I can't talk you out of it, like, you know, don't let nobody tell you that you can't make a difference in the students' lives, because that is I'm not even gonna say an opinion. I've seen it. You know, that is an anecdotal truth, that you can make a difference, even if it's just in one kid. You know, if you have the passion and heart for it. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, teaching was not, you know, it's not what I want to do with my life, but I've really grown to value and appreciate it and actually care for it. And as I've done it for years now, I've learned a lot about it, and I've seen how it's helped these kids. And it gives you a sense of pride and a sense of appreciation. So yeah, you could go to Hanoi, you could any tier 1 city, and you could see it as a paycheck, right? Go out there, and if that's what you want, you know, with a microphone, and, you know, there's channels that talk about that will warn you about what to expect. Or do it the right way. Get your degree, knock out your TEFL, and look, you know, the only reason I say this is not because I'm some business guy and I'm trying to like cut from anybody else, but like, look, the TEFL did help me. The TEFL did help me. A lot of it you're not going to use, but some of it you are going to use. But the thing is, like, it's going to help you be able to get a good school. That's the most important thing about the TEFL, in my opinion. It's not necessarily what you learn. It's just that jobs, if you want to get a legit job, if you don't want to be looking over your shoulder and to be afraid of this or be afraid of that, just knock it out. Like, it's 120 hours. There's a 120-hour course that you could take that I've sponsored on my, or not sponsored, but I've shown or told you guys about on my channel. I did the 150-hour class when I did my TEFL. And you do it at your own pace. It's online. Like, you don't need to do like the whole ninja T thing. You know, fly out here for thousands of dollars. You know, like, you don't need that either. Like, just have discipline. Get your degree. Earn this. It took me 10 years to come out of here. Don't cheat. Don't have, you know, no offense, but don't cut corners, you know. Some of you might think that is admirable, you know, to be able to cheat the system or game the system. And look, you know, you know, like I'm always gonna say, like, you know, I respect people ingenuity, but me personally, don't cheat the system. Earn this. If you want it to mean something to you, like it means something to me. Like, this has literally been the best time of my life. It has saved my life because I was at the darkest place in my life before I came here. It's because I earned it. I went through my colleges, you know. I have 2 degrees. I have a TEFL. All 3 of those were some of the best moments of my life. And then I got hired, you know, and through a guy named Carlos Salamanca, TEFL, you know, learned TEFL, you know, TEFL grad. And they're actually the ones that they're still I still talk to him. 3 years later, I still speak to my recruiter. And, you know, and he always tells me, if you're ever ready for another spot or need help with anything, let me know. His name's Carlos, great man. And, yeah, that's why, and they got me all the way from America to here, and that's why I decided that I would, you know, talk about their TEFL. And that's why they gave me a promo code for that 120-hour one, because they know, you know, that there's ways that you could come out here. There's schools that will probably hire you without it, but you're gonna be living a different kind of life. You're not gonna appreciate it. You didn't earn it. Or you could just pay like 70, 90 bucks, 150 bucks. Do my promo code. It's JN120. I've put the link several times. Or find your own TEFL company, whatever it is. Do it. Get your degree. Trust me, a college degree is not a waste of money. People who tell you that are people who don't have it. They tell you you don't need a college degree, blah, blah, blah. It's because they don't have it. I have 2 degrees. I have an associate's and I have a bachelor's degree. And let me tell you, the knowledge that I gained from that, like, I could conquer the world. And look where I'm at. I've already started. Conquering the world, well, you wait and see. Stick with my channel. See where I'm heading. The trajectory of my life, you know, the things I have in store, the dreams that I have, you know. But it all happens when you open your mind with knowledge, experience, wisdom, and that also comes with age too, mind you. But yeah, education is important, you know, so being an educator and also the education you give yourself. But yeah, we're at 22 minutes, so in conclusion of this video, this is kind of like what you're gonna live at. So you get an idea of what you can live at in, like, Laukai, okay? Number 2, come up to the north, because it's not always going to be here. You know, the real Vietnam, the old school Vietnam, the Vietnam that doesn't have any of that Western garbage, you know, where the air is still, look at this. I don't have to be afraid I'm going to get cancer by breathing in the air. You hear a bunch of horns honking? I could go for a motorcycle right now and just gun it. There'd be no traffic. I mean, so you got that. You can make a difference in the classroom. I don't care if you have 100 kids in there. Just try. And I'll make videos about like how you could do it. That's why these TEFLs and the degree and experience will help you, because it does teach you about classroom management. There is ways to control class besides just throwing candy, or like I've heard some really creative ways that people have done it. Like using students as a it was actually I forget what channel it was, but this one guy was utilizing students, as a way of like kind of being, crowd control, which was, I've never thought of that, but if you used it in a proper way, I mean, that could be a creative way, a class president kind of system, but yeah, you can make a difference. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise, and don't come out of here unless it means something to you, and earn it. I had to bleed for this.